Okie dokie. Well, I guess I'll just continue then. Today's broadcast is dealing with atonement. Atonement is at-one-ment. And when you look at the word, if you write it down, you will see, first of all, aton, and then you'll see the common ending we have in many languages, English and all its sister languages like Italian, Portuguese, Spanish, Romanian, etc. Many languages have this ment ending. Ment is mental, comes from mens, M-E-N-S. And if you put an A in front of men, you have amen. And what that gives you is man, mind, name. Amen is an anagram for name. But twice in the word atonement, you have the name of Adam. Atom. And so it's very important to understand this. Atonement is to return back to oneness. Atom means one. It's the true and original word which explains the concept of oneness. And oneness and harmony is what we're looking for. Harmony, Harpocrates, the sun. Moni is the moon. Harmony, sun and the moon. And so, in order to undergo atonement, we have to dispense with duality. Because you can't have atonement with duality. Or at least you have to see through the illusion of duality. Because in the world of effects, everything is polarized. And that's what we call, mistakenly, duality. But it does go back to two, because it's polarized vibration. Everything that vibrates is an effect of stillness, magnetism. And the effect is electrical. And we're going to see that now, because what we're going to do today is we're going to go through all the atomic language that we have. We have an atomic language and an atomic theology. So what we're doing today is we're going to look at words, and all the words I'm going to discuss today, they are all atomic. In other words, they all have tom in them. Tom or dom, dem, dim, dum, all the vowels in between, all potential vowels in between. And we're also going to do the words in the mirror, backwards and forwards. It's a two-way system, duality. In order to be able to get back to it at-one-ment, you must be able to see words forwards and backwards. And of course, for all those that have been watching my atomic presentations and shows, I've done about 10 now, they're very familiar with the fact that the T and the D are interchangeable and the M and the N are interchangeable. So that's why we have atom, Adam, atum, aten. And then we have another branch of words which are an aspect of atom. And those are the branch that dispense with the T and the D. And then you have amen, amun, aman, amin, and all of those words. So rather than having the percussive sound at the beginning, tom, tom, dum, you have men, mum, mon, etc. Okay, like the moon, for instance. These are all lunar words, whereas aton, Adam, they're all solar words. That's what's going on. So you've got solar and lunar atomic words. And the atomic words, they're more masculine. And the amen branch, amun, that's all more to do with matter, the moon, and feminine. And those are it. Those are the two words that come down to us from antiquity, and they all signify oneness, but they also have duality in them, as you will see. And so, in order to understand atonement, let's go back to the beginning, to the Garden of Eden. And let's go to Adam amid the garden. Now, please take note, because I'm going slow with these words because they are all atomic. If you write them down, you will see backwards and forwards. You will see the word Adam or atom or Tim for time, or all of those backwards and forwards. Okay. So Adam amid the garden. You see, it is a den. It's a dungeon. Hidden. The Garden of Eden. And so, what you have, when they talk about the lost tribe of Dan, well, Dan is backwards for Nadir. Nadir is down. Down is Don at the bottom. Bottom. So the lost tribe of Dan, and I must say that the Japanese have found the lost tribe of Dan, everyone. It's not lost. See, because Dan, DNA, or Andrew, the man, Andros in Greek, the man, is the word for man in Japanese. Dan-sei, D-A-N-S-E-I. Yeah, that would be Dan, Adan, you see, Dan-sei, the one who dances in the garden with his dame or his damsel. And her name originally is, well, not originally, but one of her original names is Tanit, T-A-N-I-T. The Carthaginians and the Phoenicians called her Tanit. So you have Atan and Tanit. And if you Google images Tanit, you will see that she looks like, her glyph looks very, very similar to the cross and the circle you see on top of many churches, which I contend is Tom. And it's the cardinal points of the cross on the ecliptic, and they spell out T-O, and together with the line going straight down the middle, which is called the meridian, that's Tom. So atom, if you want to learn about atom and Adam, you go to church, because right under that symbol for atom is where you will learn atomic theology. Only they don't know that they're teaching it, because they're teaching it poorly. So this den, like Daniel in the lion's den, is basically a tomb, Tom with a B on the end of it. At the bottom, Tom. So Adam was made out of the dirt. He was a mound of dirt, a mount of dirt, a template. Mound is an anagram for uomo in Italian, the man. Made mortal. Mortal is an anagram for dorm. Dom. Dorm means to sleep, dormant. See, Adam was put to sleep. He was made dormant so that he could donate a rib. Well, the rib is hiding in the middle of the word DNA, which is an anagram for Dan, Andrew, Andros, the man. Deoxyribonucleic acid. Deoxyribonucleic acid. The rib, or the ribbon, that you find hiding in the middle of that word is the ribbon of the DNA. You see, God didn't literally take a rib out of the man that he created to create a woman. If he could create a man out of the dust, he could make a woman out of the dust, surely. What it's saying is he took some DNA from Adam, a ribbon, to make her of the same DNA. And that's not literal either. It's just saying that woman is of the same DNA because the womb of man is in the woman. So man comes from the woman. See the chicken and the egg. So what we have now is we have the Garden of Eden hidden. And so they've gone down to Sodom, made of sodium. Sodium is natrium. Nat is backwards for tan. The symbol for salt, Na. Nature, backward for tan. Yes, we are a pillar of salt. This is why sodium is number 11 in the periodic table. 1 plus 1 make 2. 2 beings made of sodium, and speaking an idiom, which is the atomic language, you see. But what happened now was Pandora's box. Andor is Andro, Andrew. Pandora's box is man, you see. The damsel or the dame that was made, anagram for dame, when God was done, well, Adam's mate was nude and needed to be tamed. They were in need, you see. They were doomed, backward for moody, smitten, to smote, to smite. They were given a skin, derma, anagram for merda, which is dung, because you see, the mud that they were made from, mud gives you backwards dumb, gives you forwards dung, the dirt that they were made of, you see. Sand, A-N-D, andros, made from this dirt, the sand, the land of the earth. That's why a man is defined by his hand, handy, andros, Andrew, the man, and he is handsome. Why is the man handsome? Because he has a hand, and he is andros. So he has some hand, Mr. Handsome. This is why he understands, under, D-U-N, dung, understand. And the word for wave in Italian is onda, O-N-D or D-A-N, it's right there, Dan, onda, O-N-D-A, the wave. When you take the W off the wave, you're left with ave, backwards for Eva in Italian, Eve, Ave Maria, the wave. We are made of an electrical wave, duality, vibration. And so Adam is the template, the model, you see. Dom, backwards, gives you model. He is the model for which his ribbon, deoxyribonucleic acid, was taken when he was dormant. Poor old mortal Adam in Sodom. And so, did he become a dunce when he came down to this den? And when he ate the fruit, damn it, he had to admit to God his demise. He is now damaged. Dim, backwards for mind, dim mind. Dangerous, demon, tampered with. And in Italian, to forget, which is what happens when we come down into incarnation, is we dimenticare. We forget. So now Adam needed a moderator, a mediator, because he's now in a tempest, turning storm, tormented, tempted. They were tempted by nutriment, or the fruit. Was it a tomato, apple of gold, that Eve ate? Possibly it was. So now they are trapped in time. Time backward is emit. To emit time. Time emits. Now they are a thing because they think and are thankful. So Eve had a tantrum and she got timid in the Garden of Eden when God came down to question her, just randomly, of course, just to ask a few questions. What are you doing, Eve? Did you get tempted? Is the temperature too hot for you? See, now she wanted to be autonomous, auton. That means, in Greek, that is afton, or afto, meaning self. So that's why they were tempted, you see. They chose their mode of living so that they could do things in tandem, like dancing, doing things mutually, mutual, backwards for tum. All of these words, every single one of them. Just write them down and then you'll see for yourself that these are all atomic words. And this is exactly how things, because, well, why? Let's stop for a minute and have a pause and think of why this sound tom, atom, is so important. Well, you only have to be an electrician and have a little bit to do with electricity and you'll know where tom comes from. It's the sound electricity makes. Listen to a solenoid. Listen to an electrical arc and you'll hear it straight away. That crackling, that's a tom. And thunder does the same thing. Look at the word thunder, T-U-N. Thor is the god of thunder. In Italian, tuono, T-O-N, ton. And so it all begins with a t, and then it peters out in an M or an N sound. It's electrical. Electrical force is tom. Tom is a twin. Electricity is positive and negative. It's a twin force. Magnetism is a unity power. There's no duality in magnetism. It's still white, pure, unadulterated, unconditioned, omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent light. The potential of all manifestations. Manifestations. And so electricity itself teaches this this thing that is going on, this ton, this thunder of electrical force. And so now Adam is in his domain and he has dominion to domesticate the animals and to make a domicile. He is now a tenant mighty, living in his tent, his body, which is described as a tent. He is a crystal, carbon crystal diamond. Diamond with an O on the end of it tells you its true meaning. What is a diamond? Two worlds. Diamondo. Two worlds. Domani, the Italian word for tomorrow, means two hands. Due mani. Domani. Because everything in this reality is in twos. See, because if there is a tomorrow, which there isn't, then there must be a yesterday, which there isn't. So you can't express tomorrow without yesterday, if you want to remain in the world of delusion. And that's why Atom is so important, because it's the Word of God. It's the Word of God. It is the original word of all creation, and all words come from Atom. That's why the Latin word for to mutter is matum, M-U-T-T-U-M. Twice you have Tom hiding in there. The French word for word is M-O-T, backwards for Tom. Mo. They don't pronounce the final T, but they say mo. And the Hindus say it backwards, Om. And the French mean that to mean man. Om. Italians say uomo. Motto, backwards for Tom. Mutter, backwards for tum. Mouth, M-O-T, or M-O-U-T, tum, backwards. Mute, the opposite of mutter, to not be able to speak. And so, this is why with our mouths we make tunes, tones, notes. See, poor old Adam, he made a mistake in the mist of time. See, now he's tumbling in the tempest with his dim mind, looking for his mediator, because he's damaged. Where is my moderator? Please. And so, this is why there's always this thing about tone, note, tune. You know, have you heard of a dong, a ding-dong, a gong, which is basically just the extension of a dong? Why do they say dum-dum? Why does a drummer play his tom-tom? And people eat tim-tams, because these are all units. A dam. What is a dam? It's a unit. What is a unit? Backwards for tin. Unite. That's how we get atonement. We unite. Night is the night time. Opposite of light. Unite contains tin in it, the 50th metal of the periodic table, the element of Jupiter, the great one. Jupiter's metal is tin. Tinnitus is what you hear in your ear. Tin, 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 tinnitus. And Jupiter is also the ruler of timber, wood. Tin is a metal, backwards for Tem, the Thames River. Over there in London, where all the witches are of finance, and who run Washington. That's what's going on, guys. So when you dine and you eat your dinner in your mouth, to chew is to mordere in Latin, mord, M-O-D, backwards for dom, with your tongue, T-O-N, and your teeth, D-E-N, past your tonsils, down into your stomach, which is called tummy, Thomas, your round tummy, your unit, where food is stored, dung, mud, the dirt of the earth. Of course, as it goes down to your stomach, it goes past your thymus gland, Thomas, the twin, looks like a twin. Just Google image thymus gland. And of course, you have your three dantians in your body. Adam was made with three power centers called Dan-tien. If you're still looking for the lost tribe of Dan, I don't know, just have a look at your biology. Might try, I don't know, just a suggestion. The higher dantian, the crown chakra, the middle dantian, the heart chakra, where the Thomas gland is. Of course, everything is a twin in this electrical world of illusions, of effects. And your lower dantian. So you see, now Adam and man is a ton of dirt. Ton backwards is not. Nothing. Either you have a ton or you have nothing. And after you eat all that food, you might have a knot in your stomach. So when you go back to this is why in the Garden of Eden you see Cain murdered. Murd is dum backwards. He murdered his brother, and he had to go off into a town called Nod, backwards for Dom. You see, because now he's going to nod off, because he now has caused his own demise. The demise of man is the damage of coming into body, into the electrical world. So you see, atom expresses substance, tin, metal. It expresses time, T-I-M. It expresses our home, domicile, domain, dimension. It expresses man, Dan, Dancy, Andros, Andrew, DNA, the rib, the deoxyribonucleic acid that Eve borrowed from Adam so that they could be one in their domain, their Garden of Eden, hidden from God's sight. And so this is why man has become bonded, O-N-D. If you just put an A on the end of that word bonded, you get the Italian word for wave, onda, undulate, you see, undulate. U-N-D, A-N-D, same thing, andros, the wave. Everything is the wave. Walter Russell said the secret of creation lies in the wave. And the only wave to study is the ecliptic. And when you get the ecliptic, you learn all things. You learn that everything begins with fire. Aries, the Lamb of God, the first sign, March the 21st, the top of your head, 6 a.m. every day. Those are where the 3 cycles begin. March 21st at the equinox, 6 a.m. when the sun rises, on the 21st of March at the equator. If you're living in Finland or Australia, forget about it. You'll never see 12 hours a day and 12 hours a night. This is what a lot of people come back to me and say, oh, yeah, but you're wrong, Santos. The equinox doesn't happen on the 21st of March. Because I live in Finland and it's the day's 14 hours long instead of... No. At the equator, on the 21st of March, equal day. It only happens once. and the other time on the 21st of September, the other equinox. And so the wave is balanced into unity. And that's where everything begins. Everything begins there, where white light starts to get unbalanced. And then the sun on the ecliptic, Adam, he ascends. Ascend is the letter A. And then he gets to the mid-heaven, that's the letter M. And then he descends at sunset, that's Adam. Adam is the sun on the ecliptic. And that's the daily cycle. The yearly cycle, when Adam, the sun, starts off in Aries, that's the month where the sun exalts in Aries. It only exalts in Aries, no other sign. Aries is the sign where the sun exalts. In Christianity, they call it the resurrection of the sun. So they go and worship this resurrection because now the sun is producing longer days than nights since March the 21st. So that's where Tom is. Domus. Domus, Domenica is the word for Sunday. So that's how I know that the sun is Domus, Thomas, the twin, because he's got a name named after him, and it is Domenica, Sunday. So he exalts at that cardinal point. Then when he gets to Cancer, that month becomes Tammuz, after the 21st of June. Tammuz in the Jewish system is Thomas. Then when he gets to the other equinox, the other tropical point, there is where Saturn exalts, the ruler of the nighttime, the ruler of the autumn. And then when he gets to the 21st of December, that day is called St. Thomas Day. So there on all the cardinal points, the equinoxes and the solstices, you have Tom, Adam, the ecliptic. The ecliptic is the wave. And when you understand the ecliptic, you will understand that it is made of 4 elements: earth, water, air, and fire. Solid, liquid, gas, and radiance. Exactly what your body's made of. 4 worlds, 4 rivers of the Garden of Eden. And they correspond with carbon, earth; hydrogen, hydra, water; oxygen, air; nitrogen, fire. And those are the 4 elements that make up 97% of the Adamic, atomic anatomy. Anatomy. And so there are 4 elements and 3 modalities: cardinal, fixed, and mutable, which make 12 signs of the zodiac along the ecliptic. Cardinal, fixed, and mutable. The cardinal signs are the ones I mentioned: Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. Equinox, solstice, equinox, solstice. The ones in the middle are called fixed. And the third lots of signs before the tropical cardinal points, they are called mutable. What does cardinal, fixed, and mutable mean? Well, they are 3 modes. Mode, domus. Mode actually is backward for Edom. What does Edom mean? Red. What does Adam mean? Red. Yeah, because the red light of electricity represents the summer. The blue other half of electricity represents the winter. Red is fire, blue is water. Red is masculine, blue is feminine. Yang, yin. Positive, negative. And so, cardinal, fixed, and mutable is birth, growth, decay. Creator, preserver, destroyer. Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. God, generation, operation, dissolution. God. If you're going to be worshipping God, know that you are worshipping the Creator, electricity. You're not worshipping, you're not respecting Prime Creator. You are respecting the demi, ergos, the demented, demon. Have a look at the word demon and you'll see exactly what's going on. We're all demons because we're all Adam-ons. And on is the backword for not. So if we are on, that means we are. We are all Adamites or Ademons. Demented, looking for mediator, moderator. And so this beautiful blend of three modalities that creation expresses itself with, like three-phase electricity. If you're an electrician, you have a better window to the world of electricity and how it works if you're an electrician than anyone else. The three phases of electricity are birth, growth, and decay, cardinal, fixed, and mutable, and everything does it. And it expresses itself that way, through those modes, with electricity. And electricity has four states, four kinds of vibration. A solid one, a liquid one, a gaseous one, and a radiant one. And so this is how the science of, astrology, Jacob and his 12 sons, signs, Jesus and his 12 disciples or apostles. This is how it works. Aries is a blend of cardinal fire. Everything begins with fire. Fire is the creator. It's the tetrahedron, the tetragrammaton. Same thing, different sciences. And so the next sign is fixed earth, Taurus. Totally a different vibration to Aries. One is spiritual, one is materialistic. One is fire, mystical, M-Y-S-T, the mystic. The other one is earth, solid, material. This does not reflect at all on the individual's spirituality or material. You can have very, very materialistic Arians, and you can have very, very spiritual Taurians, because the sun sign is only partial of the attributes that are given. All the other planets blending other essences and energies to give to the native, made of natrium, sodium, in the land of Sodom. Don't look back like the wife of Lot, because you will come back and reincarnate and turn into a pillar of salt. So the idea is to find atonement. Atonement is on the ecliptic, dear friends. The atonement teaches you. You see, Atom said, "I am the one that becomes two. I am the two that becomes four. I am the four that becomes eight. After which, I go back to one." Well, that's the ecliptic. The ecliptic is a circle. That's one. It's divided into two, positive and a negative wave, onda, undulation of electricity. That becomes four with the tropical points: Aries, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn. That becomes eight when you put the cross-quarter days in. And yesterday, Groundhog's Day, 1st of February, for me, was Groundhog's Day. Happy Groundhog's Day, dear friends. We are sitting on the cross-quarter day. And those cross-quarter days, which are in the middle of the season. So right now, in the Northern Hemisphere, you are in the middle of winter, according to the ecliptic, not according to the Julio-Gregorian secular calendar. You must know the ecliptic. Nothing wrong with the secular imposition, nothing wrong with it at all. It's just a secular calendar. For taxing and for other purposes, it also has its merits. Merit, backwards for Tim. That's why Adam must have merits to get back to the heavens. In Japanese, the word for heaven is tenshi. Tenshi. Yeah, the number 10, aten. And the word for weather is tenki. Tenki, weather. Everything is 10. And electricity in Japanese is denki. Den, aden, and ki. Reiki, ki, energy. Chi, prana. Denki. Battery in Japanese. Denshi. So there you have 4 words I just mentioned. Denki and tenki. Denshi and tenshi. All having to do with nature. Backwards for Tan, who is the goddess Tanit. Eve. And so, to return back to Tenshi from the lion's den, good old dangerous, damaged Daniel in the dungeon of the den has to have merits, you see? And those merits would be to understand, first and foremostly, the true science, the science of light. To be able to unveil the veil of Isis, you see, unveil, reveal, ravel, all of these beautiful electrical words, real, rail, Rael, Israel, etc. They all have to do with electricity and the 2 worlds that we are living. You see, the diamond world, diamondo, 2 worlds. And once this, when you study the ecliptic and realize that astrology is based on that turn, T-U-N, that tempest of the ecliptic, that when spring occurs, it occurs in Aries, Taurus, and Gemini, and this never changes. You see, because the constellations of the zodiac are on the ecliptic, and they're all 30 degrees long. Whereas the constellations in the sky, none of them are 30 degrees long. None of them. Not one of them. They're all either larger or shorter. This is why the Egyptians taught that tropical astrology is the true science. Tropical, Western, Hermetic, Egyptian astrology. It's natural. Because to understand Arians, Taurians, and Geminians, you must understand everything to do with spring and the blossom and birth and expansion and growth and energy, bursting energy. It's the golden age. According to Bonacci, the 12th century astrologer, he said spring is the golden age, summer is the silver age, autumn is the bronze, and winter is the iron. And see, all of these elements manifest along the ecliptic. And so you see, in the springtime, there are no water signs in that quadrant. There's cardinal fire Aries, fixed earth Taurus, mutable air Gemini. No water. Water begins in summer to give moisture to the plants and heat. Heat and moisture, the 2 positive humours of astrology. Dryness and coldness, the 2 negative humours. They are down in the winter. And these are all produced electrically along the ecliptic. All the signs describe different states of electricity in different modes. You can have fixed earth, cardinal earth, mutable earth. There is cardinal fire, Aries, fixed fire, Leo, mutable fire, Sagittarius. And when you look at them on the ecliptic, you will understand why fire is cardinal at the beginning of the ecliptic. And you will understand why it's fixed in Leo in the heart. And you will understand why it's mutable, mutating, changing, just before winter, in November and December, the sign of Sagittarius, mutable fire. Because then fire is snuffed out. In the winter quadrant of the ecliptic, there is Capricorn earth, Aquarius air, and Pisces water. There's no fire in winter. None at all. Opposite Aquarius is Leo, where there's fixed fire, because that's summer. It's fixed. You see? And that's the opposite of Groundhog's Day, 1st of August, the middle of summer, the dog days, the heat, fixed fire, Aries. Only by studying the ecliptic can you understand all things. All knowledge, all wisdom, all things are found on the ecliptic, on Adam's ecliptic, Atum. And so as we go around that circle, we begin to realize that Atum is hiding all the secrets to life. Because Jesus said, I am the Alpha and the Omega. A-T-O-M, Omega. And the T is the crucifixion that occurs in the middle of the Alpha and the Omega, Atum. The A represents ether, and Tom is all of the sub-ethereal elements. Fire, earth, air, and water. The T, the vertical member is fire, the horizontal is the horizon of earth. There, in the letter T, is fire and earth. The O is oxygen, air. The M is marine, Mary, maritime, Mars, water. Mars is the ruler, the triplicity ruler of water in astrology. Maritime. Mars actually is a watery planet. Scientists won't tell you that, but they're going to discover that very, very soon. In fact, not long ago, a NASA scientist, revealed that to the world, that there's water on Mars, and he turned up suicided with a note and probably about 6 bullets in his head. Of course, that's how you commit suicide when you discover something like that. Mars, marine. And so Atom is teaching us that Adam has descended to his tomb, Atum, via the elements. But to get back, well, we have to go round and round that cycle of necessity until such time as we've danced enough, dangerously, and we've decided we want to go back to Tenshi, back to our original home, where Atom and Tanit are waiting for us, the ecliptic in the higher realms. And so our diamond bodies, our crystal bodies, crystalline, because you see we are Christic, and this is why all alphabets end with Q, R, S, T. Not all of them. The English one is the exception, because after that you have U, W, X, Y, Z. But the Hebrew alphabet, the Aramaic, all the ancient alphabets usually end with Q, R, S, T. R, S, T means to rest, and Christus is the resting light, the cryptic, hidden, dark light of the ecliptic. And every alphabet begins with abracadabra, A, B, C, D. And in the middle, you have L, M, N, lumen, mundane light. In every alphabet, they all start with A, Aleph in Hebrew, end with T, Taf, Tau, the 22nd letter, catch 22 amino acids, etc., of the alphabet. Because that is where the light, the sun, Adam, has his rest. In the English language, rest along the ecliptic ends in Sagittarius. The letter T, is St. Thomas Day, the last day of Sagittarius, when the autumn, the sun goes down to Hell and Tommy, and that snuffs out the sun's firelight on the ecliptic, and that is where QRST, crest, rest, the resting light of the sun rests on the 21st of December, where the letter T awaits the alphabet. And QRSTU spells out Christu, and crystal is a crystal. And we are a carbon crystal made of the isotope carbon-12. Carbon-12 is the isotope of carbon that we carry in our bodies. And so, in order to polish these diamonds and become one and experience atonement, we must sift through the spellings and the curses that have been placed upon us, you see. That's where our demise is, because we have dementicated, forgotten. We drank too much of the cup of oblivion. And so our wave became corrupted, because the wave is corrupted. It's the sine wave, the sin of Eve. And all vibration is impure. Whereas unity consciousness, Atum, is pure. And we can only find that through meditation. Med-itation, backwards for dem. Demented. Meditation is the way out of dementia. To meditate. And so, as we do that, we find the white light, atonement, at-one-ment, Aton-MENT. Every word in English, Portuguese, Spanish, French, Italian that ends with ment has to do with amenta, the underworld, mind. The Egyptians called that amenta, amen, mundo, amun, mondo, amon, the world, the physical, material world. Matter, backwards for Tom. Motion, backwards for Tom. Motor, meat, the meat, the derma, skin that Adam was given, his flesh. All of this flesh, it's all on the ecliptic. It's all produced by the ecliptic. Our spiritual, mystical nature, Aries. Our watery, emotional nature, Cancer. Our intellectual, mental nature, Libra. Our earthy, sensual nature, Capricorn. And as Adam goes along that tempest with temperature in tempo, time, because we have a temporal existence, a temporal existence. Time and space. And everything to do with time is Saturnian, Saturn, Aten. Mr. Grim Reaper, the emaciated one, who comes a-knocking the night before and says, "You're coming with me. You got no choice." And many people have seen that vision. Many people have been visited by the Grim Reaper. And this is all part of nature. Nature. Nat. Tan. Tanit. She is the goddess of nature. In fact, there it is hiding in the word nature. Tanit. And so, these are the things that the pastors will not be teaching you. The ones who come from the astors. The ministers, Amin, stars. They won't tell the brothers, Bra, Theos, and the sisters, Isis stars, and the children, the youngsters, the young stars. The pastors will not teach the ecliptic. They will teach you that you have to wait for the mediator down here on this pile of mud to be redeemed. You see, the ransom, the ram's son, will only moderate and mediate you back to Tenshi if you wait for the literal Jesus to come in the clouds, according to them. Oh, he's coming. Just to keep awaiting. There he is. There he is. No, he's over there. Oh no, It's Batman and Robin. It's Superman, and he's going back to Krypton. Krypton? Would that be the number 36 in the periodic table? 360? The ecliptic? Krypton? Hidden ton? Of course, Superman lives in the hidden ton. We live in the garden, God's den, garden, same word. The golden garden of Eden. Sodom. And so there is the story of Domus, friends. Domani, tomorrow, the coming one. Oh, he's coming. But you see, it's time to leave this religion of the theists, the monotheists, and embrace the true theology, atomic theology, the atomic language. Let us not be divided by Italian and French and English and all. We have one language. It's atomic. And all the languages go back to this. The Egyptians said, Mazra Yaum Adunia. Egypt is the mother of the world. Adunia, D-U-N, A-D-U-N, Adun, is the world. So atom, it describes the world, our domicile, our domain. Adunya, in Arabic, Adun. Dunya. Dunya is the world. Tanya, Tanit, Tammy, Timmy, Tommy, they're all cousins. They're all Adamites. They're all the children of Israel. Dionysius, Dennis, Adonis, Don, Donna, Adam, Madam, Dan, Daniel, Danielle, Denise, living in their tents of flesh being dung, a dung heap, a mound, the Mount Zion. You see the lamb standing on Mount Zion, that's Aries because he's standing on the mound of Domus, Adam, the anatomy. So once we realize that all these words, what they truly mean, they are electrical force expressing themselves to express substance, world, dimension, body, anatomy, light, dimness, night. All of these words, every single one of them, they're all atomic. Even the ones that don't have dom in them, all of them. You see, what is generated through the atom is turning, twisting, Elohim. That's what Elohim means. The lambs who twist. The lamb is the lamp. The universe is a lamb. It's all about the lamb, dear friends. Nitrogen and all the elements. It's the lamb. The lamb is the lamp. Revelation 21:22. And the city of God does not need the sun to light its way, for the lamb is its lamp. Lamp is light. Light is all there is. It's all a lamp. We live in a lamb. We are lambs and rams, right ascending of meridian, and we are all lamps. And there's your hour, guys. I'm good for questions.
Molto bene, Santos. Fantastic.
It's beautiful. Yeah. You know, as I listen to Santos again, so many thoughts going in my head. For example, my goodness, one can understand Santos when you have said so often that syncretism is so essential because this knowledge can truly liberate the world. It's just beautiful beyond words.
Yeah, look, I'll post the notes. I'll post the one-page A4 scribbled notes for today's lesson on Facebook later on today. I'll get you. Oh well, I'll do it. But and you can see all of these words. Not all of them. Probably about 90% of them on this one pager, so you can go through them and have a look yourself. But yeah, it's all there, Ruth. It's pretty sad that this has been hidden from the eyes of mankind, and it is mostly deliberate and mostly due to forgetfulness.
Ignorance has eaten us alive, and this is why I do what I do, trying to assist, on all of us here, that we just want to do whatever we can to end this ignorance that is keeping mankind so busy with wars and greed and possessions, control. That's why this information, this knowledge is so vital. And every time I listen to you, Santos, the confirmation comes stronger and stronger. It's just so beautiful. Thank you. Right. Before you go ahead, Chuck, with your with the questions, I want to remind the friends who are listening that they can join us via Skype or by calling. The telephone to call is 1-971-533-7838. You're welcome to call anytime. I will place you in the queue, and go ahead, please, Chuck, with the questions.
Okay, Santos, we've got some questions from the chat room. Zingara asks, blue is feminine and red is masculine. How did we come to associate blue as the stereotypical color for boys and pink or lighter red for girls? Colleen Gaia's Grace also added to that. Do you think it's cultural programming? Pink is for the female genitalia. Over to you, Santos.
I wonder if we lost Santos.
Okay. Mute. I was muted. Sorry.
Okay.
A lot of people have suggested that this is done deliberately and manipulatively, but regardless, it's probably no use, racking your mind trying to work out whether it was done to control us and whatever, as some suggest. We've got to try and get off these literal explanations and see things as they really are. Man.
What happened there? We lost Santos again. Hello?
Yeah, I'm not hearing Santos anymore.
Yes, I thought it was me that lost sound, but obviously we lost Santos. Please bear with me. Let's see if I can find out what's going on. I'm trying to contact Santos. Right, friends, we lost connection with Santos. Something happened, I guess, with his connection, because he's showing online, but he's not answering. So once again, as we wait, those who wishes to call for any questions, please do any time from now. The number to call is 1-971-533-7838. That is an American number. And I'm not sure about the rate, but I understand it is low cost. Let me try again. Okay, Santos online now. I'm ringing Santos. Hello there.
Hello?
We lost you.
Yep. We got you.
Yeah, yep. You'll have to be patient, guys, because we are off the grid where I'm staying, and in the mornings, because it's solar panel, sometimes we use too much electricity, and the sun's just warming up the panels, and we lose water, we lose electricity. But
we are patient.
Should be all right.
We are.
Be patient.
Go ahead.
Yep. So what I was saying, I don't know how far I got, but whether it is deliberate or not, the red and blue thing, they're interchangeable anyway, So sometimes the evil god is painted blue and the good guy is painted red, right? So Satan is red and he's evil. Santa is good and he's red. So, and they're an anagram for each other because Santa Claus comes from the North Pole, the top of the head, where the crown chakra is, the Kronos Saturn chakra is. And so they're one and the same. Satan is Santa. Once he's in blue, once he's in red, Satanan or Shiva is in blue. Well, that's supposed to be the feminine good color, Red is war, the letter R, and blue is love, the letter L. Right and left, red and blue, Ra and L, proton and electron, war and love. These are all the same thing. But they're interchangeable. So it matters not.
Okay, fantastic. We also have another question from the chat room. Santos, do you know what language was spoken in Atlantis, Lemuria?
It would have been... We'll have a look at the Bok saga, the Finnish saga, which claims to be the oldest history that we have on the planet. And the Finnish call it the Bok saga, B-O-C-K. Jim Cheshire is one of the best teachers of the Bok saga, but there's quite a few now. And they teach that it was root language. Root language is what I'm teaching here. It's atomic language. That's what you're getting. It's root language. And everything Jim says confirms everything I say, the lot of it. And I only discovered Bok saga about, 6 months ago, maybe, something like that. Now, they also say that Van language come from that the Finnish speak. And in the Bok saga, they teach that English is a combination of root and Van. So this is why I say to people, from many, many sources, I know that English is the great, great astrotheological language on the planet. And it's no wonder that it's the universal language right now, because it is going to bring us back to Tenshi. English is the way to decipher and discover the truth and to get out of this labyrinth that we're in, because that's what it is. It's a labyrinth. And it's been done deliberately for us to be enmeshed in matter, to forget, so that only the best of the best would remember and learn how to decipher their way back. That's what's going on, remembering. All we're doing is remembering, remember. Put all the members back together and you go back to Tenshi.
Wow, that's fantastic. Thank you. Okay, Ruth, do you have anything from callers, or should I continue?
Please go ahead, Chuck. There is not callers at the moment. So let's hope that the friends who are listening keep
Okay.
asking questions, please. So much to learn, so much to ask.
Yeah.
So please go ahead.
Yes. Okay, we'll proceed. Santos Enoch from the chat room asks, do you prefer the heliocentric or geocentric model of the universe for natal charts and daily readings?
Geocentric, yeah. Yeah, for
All
sure.
right. Very good. We have another question from the lovely Zingara. What about Pluto not being classified as a planet? Are there any implications for astrology with that?
Not really. No, I wouldn't pay attention to what scientists say at all. It's all mind control from NASA. There's never been a picture taken of the Earth. All those pictures you see of the Earth, they are not pictures of the Earth. They've all been painted by people from NASA. And pictures of Jupiter, etc. This is all lies. All of it is lies, 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 lies. Man does not know the nature of the universe, doesn't know how big it is, doesn't know anything about time, light, and how fast it travels, because it doesn't even travel. It repeats. Light repeats. They don't understand that. It's the speed of the repetition of the wave. It doesn't travel. There's no traveling done. So they have no idea. Those pictures that you see, you can do some good searching on the internet, and you can see that this has been exposed by people who worked in NASA for many years, and they were the ones who were actually drawing these pictures. And so they've never taken photos from the moon. This is all. I mean, obviously, you look at the photos from the moon, right? When the lunar module is landing, there's already someone there taking a picture of it landing. Before it landed, there's a photograph taken of the moon. How did someone get out there to do that before it landed? This is all studio stuff, man. All of it. The true nature of the universe and how it works is going to be revealed very, very soon. Please don't pay attention to these guys who talk about the Cassini and the Voyager and everything like that. These are the great, great deceivers. The Jesuits are in there. The Catholic Church owns it. They are trying to keep the truth away from us, because once we understand that as above, so below, what we're going to understand is that man is the measure of the universe. This is the greatest thing to learn. Not that the universe is this vast, endless thing expanding and the Big Bang and all of this, even quantum physics. It's all been debunked by guys like Walter Russell. There's no such thing as neutrinos and protons and electrons and all of these things. It's all just the wave. It's all the wave. That, as Walter Russell said, the proton is the electron, is the neutron. It depends where you're looking at the spiral. If you look at it at wave expansion, then it's the neutron. If you're looking at it as it's contracting, it's the proton. If you're looking at it when it's expanding, then it's the electron. But it's the same thing. Red becomes blue, becomes red, becomes blue. They are sisters. You can never separate them. If you separate them, then it's destroyed. As soon as you separate one particle in the universe, the whole universe collapses and everything goes back to naught. Naught is Tom backwards. Okay? So everything, Eve and tin, everything is the opposite of nothing, naught, which are all atomic words and produced by electricity. So be prepared for this. Just remember, man is the measure of the universe. The ecliptic is everywhere. Nothing is outside of the ecliptic. Everything works along the ecliptic. Starts in Aries, finishes in Pisces. Everything, every thought, everything, every particle of light, every photon, every universe, every dimension, every planet, every sun. The sun is the great teacher. Look at the sun. Jah-Ram. That's his true name, Jehovah Ram. Because he comes out of the fire of Aries, the ram, right ascending of meridian. And he teaches because he never, ever goes off the ecliptic. When you look at the ecliptic going around this supposed globe, you will see the DNA strands as the sun goes through the equinoxes to the Tropic of Cancer, back through the equinox to the Tropic of Capricorn, up and down. Sine and cosine. You see, Eve was the sinner, the wave, the sine wave, the sin of Eve, and she needed a co-sinner, a cosiner, Adam, the ecliptic. And so this wave is a sine and a cosine. And as it goes from tropic to tropic, it produces everything you see. And what that teaches you is that the sun is spiraling. The ecliptic teaches you that the sun is spiraling. Just look at it. Grab a globe that you've got sitting in the corner there all nice and dusty, shake it off, have a look at the ecliptic. That's what it's teaching you. It's teaching you that Helios, the helix of the DNA, the rib, ribonucleic acid, is spiraling everywhere. And so he is the teacher. And what does he teach? He teaches the ecliptic. That's all. That's why right ascension teaches us right action. When we have right action, then we can return, you see, because the sun is the master of creation. Kriya, the goddess Rhea, and Shun, any word ending in Shun, just take the I out and you've got Ton, Aton. Creation is Rhea and Ton, Tony, Tommy, Timmy, time.
Wow, that's beautiful. Santos, you just put a smile on my face. My goodness. As far as science, the Thunderbolts guys, right? And the Electric Universe, there's some good folks to listen to, are they not? Yeah.
They are,
reminds...
but they've just excluded the whole cause of everything because they're not spiritual. They're not spiritual one bit. They are beautiful for teaching. They're great for teaching the physical, linear, electrical universe, but they don't realize that the universe is magnetic. It's actually caused by magnetism, magnum opus. The magnum opus is the work that electricity does caused by magnetism. See, they don't have any concept of the magnetism, which is stilling all of those electrical Birkeland currents and tunnels tenet of light.
There is a fear. For me, what I see in the scientific world, there is a fear of bringing a spiritual teachings into it because of fear of ridicule, but it's ignorance as well. They don't want to touch the subject because of fear of being ridiculed. Another Richard Dawkins. We have many of such people around the world. They just don't want to touch anything that has to do with the spirit because they are scientists, you see.
Yeah.
Left brain. Yeah. All right. Well, beautiful. That brings us into our next question, which is related. So Santos, you said there's no duality in magnetism. So is that like bliss? There is no opposite.
Yep, because it's one. One can only be one thing. And this is what good is. Magnetism is good. Electricity is beautiful. All the Neoplatonics philosophers, and even going back to Pythagoras and Hermes, which is a great line of Hermetic wisdom teachers, taught that there is the good and the beautiful. The good is one thing, the beautiful is two things. It's made up of good and evil, but beautiful. This world is beautiful, but beautiful has good and evil in it. Good is only good. This is why Jesus says, don't call me good, for no one is good but my Father in the heavens is good. But Jesus is beautiful because Jesus is electricity. Emmanuel, electricity, and Mary Magdalene, magnetic, which is really in reference to the other half of electrical force, where scientists have always got it wrong. They've always said that electricity is positive and magnetism is negative, and so they've seen it that way, as electricity and magnetism. You see, they've seen them as electricity as that, but it's not. Electricity is one thing, magnetism is totally another thing altogether. Magnetism is like the mat. There you go, the mat, backwards for tam. Okay, the mat on which, which is the background for everything. It's everywhere. There's nowhere where there is not magnetism. You see, and it is invisible, and it is white light or black light. Matters not, because it doesn't vibrate. All the other colours come from red and blue, and then they refract further, and we get green, purple, orange, yellow, and all the other colours. But the master colour is white, no vibration, and then the first two refracted lights, the two lights that come from white light, are always red and blue. And that's scientific fact. They can't deny that one. That is, that's just, you can do that in the laboratory.
Beautiful, beautiful. We've got a question in the chat from Astro Jules. F as in Finnish, fairy, elf. Links to other worldly languages?
I didn't get that.
Yeah, so Astro Jules says F as in Finnish, F as in fairy, yep. F as in elf. Does this link to any other worldly languages? Any connection you find, perhaps?
Not right now. The letter F is the sixth letter. It has to do with light, phos, and fire, F, and phi, the phi ratio, which is the spiral of creation. But I've pointed this out before. F is the 6th, L is the 12th, R is the 18th, and X is the 24th. Those four letters, I would meditate on those four, and you'll find that they all have to do with light. The letter F, for instance, resembles the basically it's a T with the capital letter F is basically just a T with a horizontal member on the top. Okay, this is basically dealing with the tropical signs 6. Okay. The hex of creation. Then the letter L is Elohim, the Lord Jesus with his 12, the 12th letter of the alphabet. The letter R is Resh or Ra, and it is the 18th letter of the alphabet, 666. And then the letter X is basically represents the cross-quarter days, and it represents the dynamic ecliptic, whereas the letter F represents the static ecliptic. So you've got 6, 12, 18, 24 perfectly along the alphabet. And when you look at those letters, you will see that they all turn up in these sacred words, and they have that very, very meaning that I just described right now. All to do with light and motion. X-ray, for instance. Have a look at the word X-ray. Why did they choose that? Ray is Ra, and X is the 24th letter. The moving, dynamic, and you see it in mathematics, the plus sign is to add, and the multiply, the X, is to multiply. You see? It's multiplying of rays, X-rays. So, and then you have the feminine, and then you have the feminine mathematical symbols, the minus sign to take away, negative, It's also the negative. And the division. So you've got plus and minus. You've got multiply and division. And all of those come from the ecliptic. And they are to be found in the letters of the alphabet. Exactly the same. And they always have the same meaning. Nothing changes because it's an atomic mathematical language.
Got it. Got it. Okay, we've got another one actually circling back in relation to the Birkeland currents. Zingara asks, might Santos speak about the 12 skulls hidden all over the world as put forth by Drunvalo? Truth or fiction? And I know he's a big Birkeland current advocate as well.
Yeah, look, I think it's true, but it's truth has many levels to it. There's literal truth, there's symbolic, allegoric, and anagogic truth. Okay, so whether there is all levels of truth in there, well, that remains to be seen. I've followed the crystal skull people and their 13 or 12 skulls, and I've read all of Drunvalo's books, and I like him. I think he's devoted to truth, just as I am. None of us have all the answers, but I've been following it, I suppose, and I'm aware of it, and I like it. I don't see anything, bad in it at all. He's got a great group of conscious people. They're very unique, the people that follow him. They... they're sort of illuminated type of people, very, very bohemian and hippie sort of guys, and they're into, alternative cultures. All that's good. I think that's great because that is the diversity, and we're all different pools of genes and different light beings here on the earth. So we're all doing our little bit, and besides, I don't think any evil can come through crystals, only the misuse of crystals. So crystal skulls, especially of that high caliber of workmanship and craftsmanship, would have been done by some very, very enlightened beings for a very good purpose. And I do believe that crystals hold a lot of information. Those skulls are imbued with probably all the secrets of the universe, and hopefully if they do bring them together and something comes of it, we will know.
Yeah, absolutely. The crystals hold data from who knows how long. Okay, Santos, we've got another question from the chat room by Colleen Zgaya of Grace, and she says, please ask Santos if he has any thoughts on what true light language is.
True light language is, well, it's root language, it's atomic. And today's lesson really is just scratching the surface of this language. It all originates from Tom, that electrical percussive sound that creates all effects. And so that would be the light language that dominates the physical manifest effect world of effects, creation, Rhea and Tony. And so,
sorry, Santos, apologies, but I just joined someone who called using the telephone, and please, the person who is waiting, hello, can you hear me? Hello? Hello, whoever has called just now, if you can hear me. Right. Sorry, Santos, go ahead. The person obviously cannot hear me. but hopefully later on, whoever called can join. Please go ahead.
Okay, I think I just about finished there. I don't know what more I can say about light language other than, I mean, in unity consciousness, we don't make these noises. So we won't be making tomic noises, tonic, tonify, you see. We will be communicating without vibration. It's love, it's the language, the true language. So, it's not telepathy, because telepathy is still vibration, but it will be beyond that, and only advanced ones will be able to speak that language. So this is why it's very important to understand this atomic language now, because it's going to lead to something better.
All right. Thank you, Santos.
Yep.
Ruth, do you have anybody on the call, or shall I continue from the chat room?
The person who rang a few minutes ago, or a few seconds ago, dropped the call. So please continue reading from the chat. And
okay.
Just let me take the opportunity again for any person who wishes to call. The number, again, to join this section is 971-533-7838. Thank you.
Okay. We've got a question from Jenna Brown. And Santos, she asks, in the Bach Sag, the White Rosette, the breeding group, were they Irish? Gaelic? Is there any relation to the War of the Roses? Are the bloodlines still carrying the White Rosette bloodline are alive today?
I'll tell you what, that's a really good question. I don't know, but I've always thought about that, the rosette that the Bach Saga talks about, and the War of the Roses. That's a really good question. I hope I can look into that. Can't give an answer, though.
Okay, we've got one question here. Santos, you spoke about the sine wave, the sin of Eve. What about the three other type of waves? Do they have any relevance? Square, triangle, or sawtooth?
Yeah, they all come from the ecliptic. Standing wave is at the equinoxes. This is why the equinoxes are so loved in all cultures. The Jews celebrate. Look at that. They celebrate Atonement when? On the equinox of September. Because they know it's the standing wave. It's magnetic light rather than electrical unbalanced light. It only happens on March the 21st and September the 21st through 23rd. And so that's exactly when they celebrate Atonement, the Festival of Booths, Rosh Hashanah, Judgment Day, Yom Kippur. And at the other end, the Christians are celebrating Easter, the resurrection of the Son, the Lamb of God, and the Jews are celebrating the Passover of the Lamb. Because there you've got standing wave, and then at Cancer and Capricorn you've got your seesawing, the soaring wave. It's all created from the ecliptic. The ecliptic is producing many fractals of waves and many kinds of waves. I would recommend to have a look at two sites, David Lapointe and his Prima Fields, three beautiful presentations. David Lapointe, Prima Fields. His three videos are called Prima Fields. And then I'd have a look at Matt Presti YouTube channel, and he's got 18 units of light, speaking about magnetic and red and blue electrical light and how they work. And there's a lot of information in there about the waves. Those two are pretty important products to study.
Oh yeah, Matt Presti, very good. Okay, Ruth, if you don't have anything, I'll continue with questions from the chat. Astro Jules asks, Santos, do you have any thoughts about the Antakarana, as in Rainbow Bridge, Alice Bailey?
No.
Okay. Yeah. We'll move on. Santos, you mentioned the sun exalts in Aries. Did the Julian calendar switching to the Gregorian calendar rob March of being the first month? Aries.
No, of course not. Nothing has moved. Just remember that the 21st of March is where the equinox occurs, and 30 days, 30 degrees after that will always be Aries. It will never move. No calendar can move it. The only true calendar we have is the ecliptic. The ecliptic never moves. It doesn't move. The constellations behind do, due to precessional slippage, but those do not determine astrology one single iota. One single iota. Everything comes from the ecliptic. Tropical astrology rules. It is 100% accurate. It has never, ever gone off because astrologers know that it is ruled by the ecliptic. I would recommend to read Thomas H. Burgoyne, The Light of Egypt, Volume 1 and Volume 2. That is a must. Those are the two best books on the planet, bar none, for understanding all of this syncretism. Those two books, The Light of Egypt, Science of the Soul and Stars, Volume 1 and Volume 2. They are a must read, and then you'll understand. He explains it clearly from all the Egyptian wisdom that has ever been, that everything operates the same, astrology operates the same as the sun. On the 21st of March, the sun is balanced. Then on the 22nd, it has moved 1 degree 1 day. That difference of 1 degree on the ecliptic, of the angle of light that penetrates the atmosphere, that is what makes the difference between people born on the 21st and people born on the 22nd. There is a massive, massive difference because of those angles, angels. There are 360 angels. And so on the 23rd of March, the sun travels another day, another degree. And now those 2 degrees removed from balance point, they describe all that is produced by that angle born on that day. And then the 24th of March, that's where I was born, that angle now, 3 degrees removed from balance point, that is the pressure of light getting unbalanced, creating a totally different energy for the 24th of March, and so on and so on and so on. So it's by degrees and angles and days. This is why astrologers deal in degrees, minutes and seconds, because it's a science. And they know some astrologers only deal in minutes. They don't pay much attention to the degrees. They go into the minutes and the seconds to find out all the information that they need. They say the answer lies in the minutes and the degrees, because as the sun changes degree by day, a day for a year, say the scriptures, everything in the Earth's atmosphere changes. It has a different vibration every day. And so Aries will always be there on the ecliptic. Now, the constellation of Aries is not even 30 degrees long. It's about 20-something. It's a very small one. It's the smallest one there. And Virgo is one of the longest, way over 30 degrees. So it's no use resorting to any other type of astrology than tropical astrology, because the constellations are on the ecliptic. They are all 30 degrees long symbolically, because those 30 degrees have their own houses, their own energy, their own vibration. It does not spill, that energy does not spill into the other signs, like if you follow sidereal or star-based astrology. If you follow star-based astrology, well, then you may not, if you're born, say, on the 15th of August, you may be a Virgo rather than a Leo, because you're following the stars now. You're not following the ecliptic. You've gone off the ecliptic. And the scriptures warn, woe to those who are following the fallen stars. That's talking about precession, guys. There's always the stars that erred. Who are the stars that erred? They all err because they're all slipping, precessional slippage. The Bible teaches tropical astrology 100%. It's all about the ecliptic. You see, woe to those who are following the stars, the fallen stars. They're falling all the time. The stars do not go in degrees and everything on the. It's only the ecliptic that must be observed. Only the ecliptic. Leo is on the ecliptic from the 21st or 22nd of July to the 21st or 22nd of August. It will never be anywhere else. That's where fixed fire lives, on the ecliptic, because the ecliptic produces fire there. Okay.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well said by Mr. Aries. Thank you, Santos. Okay, we do have quite a bit more questions rolling in here, Ruth. Unless you've got callers, I'll carry on.
We don't have any callers yet. So I will encourage, though, anyone who wishes to join, you have time to do so. Thank you.
Okay, we'll continue. We actually have a question from Singapore, from G1179, and they say, first of all, I want to thank Santos and all others for these wonderful sessions. This is my first time joining in, as it's quiet early here in Singapore, and I work late hours. Having said that, I also have a question for Santos. We have other guys who also have other theories, guys like Zecharia Sitchin. He has written books on aliens coming to Earth for gold. So my question is, where does this all intersect?
Well, this interchange with extraterrestrials has been going on for a long time. Visitors, peaceful, warlike, and so aliens, that some people call them, but extraterrestrials. The Bible talks about angels visiting and cherubs and seraphim and whatever, orphanim. They've been described in many books. The Indians talk about Vimanas, Mercury vortex engines in their Ramayana and their Vedas, etc. So, there's obviously some truth in this, because all of the legends and mythologies of the world talk about it. So, we know for a start that we are of the earth, we are in the earth, but we are not of the earth. We are in the world, but we are not of the world. We were created outside of this sphere. We are above this. We are not from here. We are the ones who are extraterrestrials, really, because our spirit is not from here. Our souls were created above the souls of angels. Even angels minister to humans, because Adam is the non plus ultra. And so, and look at humans. Some of them are really, really nasty, and some of them are really, really loving. So we're the extraterrestrials, and we are the ones. It's basically us. We keep reincarnating. Have a look at some of these guys that get into politics. You can see their reptilian nature. It stands out. It stands out from a mile. They are like extraterrestrials in human flesh that have no empathy or sympathy for us at all. They lie. They put up taxes. They put burdens up. They tase people with their police forces. They go around taking countries off indigenous people, murdering them for oil supplies so that they can do a petrochemical dump on us through chemtrails and through aspartame, fluoride, mercury thimerosal in the vaccines, all of this poison, toxin. They are killers. They're murderers. They are the extraterrestrials themselves, man. I wouldn't be looking for any ships and UFOs and everything. We need to deal with these entities here. The only thing that they use that they've got on us is legal name and legal tender. Once we stop using it, these vicious reptilian overlords, they will be put in their place. We can put them all in prison and we can live happily ever after. Just have to stop using
Thank you, Santos, for that. Thank you, because that is a subject that I feel needs attention, because the subject of ETs is horrendously popular, and this idea that some beings from outer space are completely controlling every aspect of our lives is actually very general. So thank you for that. Beautiful. Right. There is someone waiting the telephone line. If that person can hear me, hello there, can you hear me? Hello. Yes. Hi. Chuck, hello. Hello. We're going to give the turn to this lady here. So please go ahead with your question.
Yep.
Okay. What does it mean to have a Mercury retrograde in your birth chart? And also, does Mercury represent the physical eyes of a person?
No, not the physical eyes, the tongue. Mercury is the Aton-MENT, tongue. It is a speaker. So if you've got retrograde, depends what sign it's in, and it depends if it's what aspects and what house it's in. But usually, Mercury retrograde means that what you speak will always have some, I don't know, some tension, negativity, or harshness, or it will always have some extra energy about it. Okay, a retrograde is like a repeat lesson in life, or a reversal, or whatever. So it has to do with your speaking. And usually when Mercury is retrograde, you'll find that we are a lot harsher in our communications. We are a lot more brittle and tempered in our speech. And so if you have this in your chart, it can be a positive thing too. Don't think only negative, but it's a different kind of tuning for your tongue. And now, if you meditate on it, you'll find out what it's done for you, your Mercury retrograde. Whether it's, it could be that depending on what sign and what house and what other aspects and what other conjunctions, but it could be that you are misunderstood. What you say is taken the wrong way. It could be that your tongue is hurtful at times. It could be that you have a speech impediment. Mercury conjunct Saturn, for instance. People are mutterers, and they have problems with their tongues. And Mercury is also the mercury in your cerebrospinal system, the mercurial oils. So it has to do with the brain too, especially the right hemisphere. It's very, very peculiar to the right hemisphere and the feminine intuitive part, which is connected to cause. So a retrograde is a little bit of a disturbance, either for good or for bad, depending on other aspects, what sign it's in. If it's in Pisces, for instance, Mercury hates Pisces. If it's in Virgo, it will be a very analytical mind and tongue that you have, very deep. If it's in Gemini, very loquacious. But if it's retrograding in Gemini, then it'll be sort of, you probably put your foot in it many times, or something like that. But you'll have to discover what it is according to your chart. But I've just mentioned some of the things that it could, some of the potentials that it could mean. It's the tongue, intellect, and communication.
Okay,
Beautiful, beautiful.
What planets have to do with the forming of the eyes of a person?
I missed that.
What planets have to do with the forming of the eyes of a person? Like I know you mentioned in one video that Venus has to do with the sun. So whatever your sun is has to do with how your eyes look.
Yeah, it'll be connected. It won't be disconnected. It will be connected, but it's not. The sun, see, for instance, the sun aspecting badly to a planet, say, in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is all about seeing. It's the eyes. There's many, many degrees in Sagittarius where eye deformities come from. Okay, so the sun is the eyes, and also the moon. See, the sun rules the right eye in males and the moon the left eye, and vice versa with females. But primarily it's the sun, because we see grace to the sun. As Plato said, sight needs a third thing. Hearing does not. Saturn rules hearing because it's dark. When it's dark, you don't have your eyes, but you have to hear. You have to listen carefully so you don't bump into things. That's why you put Saturn's rings on your ears. And Capricorn is the ears. When you put the zodiac around the head of the human being, Capricorn turns out to be the ears. So Saturn's the ruler thereof. He's the guy of darkness, and Horus, his brother, the sun, is the god of daylight. So the third thing that we need to see is the sun, or the lamp, the lamb, jar ram on the ecliptic. So we need a lamp, we need a lamb to see a third thing, whereas hearing is direct. Noise, you can hear in the light or you can hear in darkness. Hearing does not need a third thing. So if your sun is badly aspected in your chart, if it's receiving, an opposition or a square, those are bad angles, angels. Your sight can be impaired, for sure. Even on a full moon, if you're born on a full moon, when the moon is opposite your sun in your chart, that can cause deformities on the face and also hurt the eyes. You can have poor eyes because you've got to protect the sun. This is why it's so important. In days gone by, they always, when they were making families, they always consulted with astrologers. That practice is gone now, and kids are just born willy-nilly any time of the day, and they could be saved of great illnesses like eye troubles and liver problems if they only delivered the children a half an hour earlier or later, or an hour or two, which can be done through meditation. It's all possible. We just let fate now rule how our children are going. We don't even know. Sometimes criminals are born out of families, good families, and then sometimes saviors are born out of bad families.
Yeah, the reason why I asked that is because I feel like I've been noticing, like, through a little study that I've been doing, it's like if I would look at someone's birth chart, I would notice like whatever the position is in the Mercury, it would determine like how their eyes would look like. If the Mercury is in, like, let's say Aries, then you would have like the eyes of an Arian. Or if it's in Virgo, it has the person would have the eyes of a Virgoan.
Are you talking about the sun or Mercury?
Yeah. Mercury. That's why I want to know if the planet Mercury represents how a person's eyes would look, or like how.
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
And yet it does, because Mercury is the messenger, and all your nerves are mercurial. They have mercury, cerebrospinal fluid in them. So the messenger is actually your nerves, and your optic thalamus controls all of those senses, and especially your optics. So Mercury is in there, yes, but is not the primary ruler of it. It's the sun. Mercury is like probably a third ruler. You see, what you must understand too is that everything has more than one ruler, okay? There's not just one ruler for anything. Like the great Al-Biruni in his astrological treatises explains, the onion is ruled by Mars for its bitterness, but Jupiter for its moisture. You see, so everything has two humours. It's either hot or cold, or dry or moist. Those are the four humours, the active and the passive humours. And so everything has two of them. That's why when you're taking your cell salts, it's very careful not. I would be very careful not to take all of them, because the 12 in 1, because you're mixing humours and some things are getting cancelled out. I would be more specific, and I would work with one or two at a time. You have to work out what humours they have and what your ailment is. But I wouldn't be working with more than, say, 3 or 4 at a time. I just learnt this recently, by the way, because I was recommending to people to take the bioplasma and just take all 12 in 1. But I met someone not long ago who's really, really good with the Schussler cell salts, and he said, no, you can't do that. They're counter-intuitive. And, you're not getting the effects you're looking for, the desired effects. So this is the point about Mercury. He's definitely in there, because Mercury is like a mini sun. He's closest to the sun. He's the messenger of God, which is the sun, and he's the first one, right? Closest to, the hottest.
Yeah.
And so he's very, very similar to the sun. But, vision is predominantly ruled by the sun in your chart.
Thank you. Sorry, what was your name? I didn't ask you. I didn't ask your name. The lady who has been asking the questions. Sorry?
Oh, Doris.
Dolores.
Doris.
Right.
Doris.
Okay. Thank you very much
Doris.
for joining. There is. You're most welcome.
Thank you. Okay.
Chuck, before we continue with the questions appearing in the chat, there is another lady waiting here online. So,
Okay.
Kamla, please, can you go ahead with your question? Hello? Okay, I think she dropped. So you can continue with the chat, with the questions appearing in the chat, Chuck, please.
Okay, we'll continue. Santos, gentleman by the name of Peter Cullinane asks, are the upper echelons draconian?
I don't really know. Possibly they are. There's got to be a way to describe why they're so brutal and evil and lacking empathy and murderous, and they love wars and bloodshed and disunity, and they know that paradise is already here. Heaven, Tenshi, is here. They know that. They are the single cause of all of the trouble and suffering that we have. And I released a video on YouTube just on the 29th of January, 2 days ago, called Address to the Pope to End World Slavery. It's only 10 minutes. Please share it, because I've called them out on the legal name and legal tender, and that's all that they have on humanity, and that is the single cause of all suffering, all evil on the earth, and that the Pope is on top of it all, and he has the ability to end it in one fell blow, because he's doing a lot of talk about ending world slavery. And I mentioned in there that now is the time, if you're going to do it, because there will be many, many people supporting that move, and it's a better time than in history ever. Now, I've released 2 videos recently, one on the 21st, on the new moon, when the moon is in the mansion of Aries. Every new moon, for 24 hours, for 13 degrees, the moon is in Aries, the first 13 degrees of Aries. There are 28 mansions of the moon. I did this deliberately, and I released a video called Removing Presumptions About the Legal Name. And that was the day that I ended up going to jail for 9 days last year, on the 21st of January. And I released that video on the 21st of January this year, a year later. And then 9 days later, when I was released from jail on the 29th, I released my message to the Pope. And all of this was done in Aquarius, because he is the Pope of Aquarius. So you see how the stars work? Everything lines up, guys. And please share that video, because in that video is a heartfelt message to the most powerful man on the planet. And if we all sent it to the Pope and to the Vatican, then they would know that if they got thousands and thousands, they would know that we have one thing on our minds, and that is the opposite of what they are doing, disrupting us, giving us draconian, laws and legalities and ways to keep us suppressed. We are now in a golden age, and we can fly. We can do anything we want. The only thing is, there's this force, government, police force, armies, stopping us, and they're stopping us through our stupidity of using legal tender and legal name.
Beautiful. Yes, absolutely.
Oh, beautiful.
And Santos, we felt your heart in that video that directed to the Pope.
Yes.
I just felt it so intensively, and I just join you in this petition. Enough, Jorge. Enough of this. Definitely, we want peace. We are tired, more than tired. All the nonsense. Right.
Yeah, guys, just a quickie. The definition of legal, 5 words. I put it in that video to Pope Francis, by the way. This is according to Encyclopedia Britannica, 1893, Dictionary of Sciences and Art, says, the undoing of God's law. So just those 5 words will lead you for the rest of your life as to where you should go. The opposite direction of anything legal. Legal is to bind, bondage. We're in the salvage age now, guys.
Yes, absolutely. Or if they only would listen from the heart, if they just would join the light, what a miracle that would be. But it's coming, just a bit more patient. And please, as Santos says, please, friends, share that video. It needs to circulate a bit more than it has. That would be really beautiful. Chuck, there is another person waiting here in the phone call. So, hello
Okay.
there, the person waiting. Can you hear
Yeah.
me? Oh,
Hello, Ruth.
I can hear you. And who is that?
Can you
Sorry?
hear me?
Hi, Colleen.
Hi, Ruth.
So
It's
lovely
Colleen.
to hear you. Yes. Yes.
Yes, you too. Hello, dear Santos, dear brother. It's Colleen. I also
Colleen.
wanted to, hello, I wanted to support Santos in those 2 videos that he posted, and I also reposted. And this is the time, like Santos says, and the energies are supporting that. And everyone listening tonight to please repost. We can talk about things like the draconians and archons and all of that, but they're really, when you break it all down, they're distortions and distractions, taking us away from the real truth of what is really going on that Santos brings forth. And so I just want to share that. And Santos, it's so good to hear you back again. And
Thanks.
I had said earlier about the light language, and it really is about the light language is the sun, and the wave is love, and Walter Russell's work, and
Thank you. Lovely,
that's what I
lovely
wanted
that you
to
joined. Thank you. I couldn't agree more with you, Colleen. Too many distractions, and I have fallen for it myself. Many of us has, but it's a process.
Yes,
It is a process. I mean, that's
We
how we
all have.
learn. How can we know what is positive if we don't experience negative? I have been there, and everyone who is truly seeking has to swim in many, many waters, very dirty, murky and horrible, and until it gets to clear area. And I think that's why we're swimming now. It's getting clearer and clearer and more beautiful.
Yes, yeah. So much love to you, Santos, dear brother, and Ruth and all.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Colleen.
Thank you. Same to
very
you,
much
sister.
for joining us. It's a pleasure.
Mm.
So, Chuck, I
Thank
pass
you.
it to you. It's all yours.
Wow. Yes. Well said, Colleen. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay. Zingara asks Santos, cell salts. Please talk more about why we don't have some of them developed, and if they can really help us with our health problems.
Yeah, absolutely. George Carey from the early 1900s, and by the way, his books, God, Man, The Word Made Flesh, and Zodiac and the Cell Salts, which you can get on Amazon for $20 a piece. He worked on Schussler's science because Schussler discovered that the dust of the ashes and the dust, the cremated ashes of bodies consisted consistently of 12 salts. He discovered that, but George Carey added the zodiac to this science. And he discovered that in the 9 months in the womb, all the salts are developed in a baby. Whereas the 3 remaining months to complete the ecliptic were lacking. So wherever you're born, I was born in Aries, I am lacking the salt of Aries and the next 2 signs because I was removed from the womb before the sun completed the ecliptic, and completed all the salts. Now, 9 months correspond to 40 weeks. You see, this is the 40 days of Jesus being in the wilderness, Moses on Mount Sinai. These 40 weeks are the 40 weeks of tempest and tribulation, etc. And so this is why Geminian babies always have the same problems. You see, they have respiratory problems, asthma, skin trouble, lots of skin trouble, because their salt and the subsequent one, cancer, have to do with the skin, potassium chloride and calcium fluoride. Arian children, Scorpio children, they all have the same deficiencies, you see. And so the three subsequent to when you're born, the sign you're born and the next two signs, those are the ones that should be administered, in particular with children and babies. But I would be very careful what brand. There is a brand here in Australia called martinandpleasance.com. Martin, M-A-R-T-I-N, and Pleasance. I forget how that's spelt, but I think it's PLEANCE.com. You can email me, I'll send you the address. They make the salts without any additives like lactose or sorbitol or any of those poisons. So, and I don't know why they do that. It's quite stupid. You go to a health food store and you look at the ingredients, and there's always something in there, in the pills. You know, they think they have to bind these pills. But if you get it in liquid, there's no need for any of these binders. And so liquids administered, and in particular, the three remaining salts, the child's birth sign, where the sun is, if he's born on, say, 24th of May, he's a Geminian, you give him the Gemini salts, the Cancer and the Leo. Leo is magnesium phosphate. So, but I've also had a lot of success, and George Carey did thousands and thousands and thousands of tests. He had patients that he worked with for years and years, and he had great success with the salts. If you know what you're doing, the salts are your best friend. It's all about salt, salvation. And he had great success, and I have too, when I've discovered by doing people's charts, if you've got, say, in your chart, outside of your three signs that you need to administer, if you have, say, I don't know, a sign that has a couple of planets in it that are being attacked with oppositions and squares and all sorts of, and they're retrograding. So let's say you've got, say, Saturn in Scorpio retrograding, receiving a square from Mars, okay, in Leo. Now, that's a nasty square. He's retrograding, doesn't like Scorpio, and Saturn is the king of illnesses, especially chronic illnesses, whereas Mars is acute illnesses. Kronos is 30-year orbit, so he's slow, so he gives chronic illnesses. So if you see something like that in your chart, where a planet is really suffering, retrograding and receiving squares or oppositions from nasty planets, I would also try the salt of that sign and see how you go. Calcium sulfate in the case of Scorpio. So I would give that a go and see if that helps, some of the things that you've got. There's a lot of books out there, homeopathic books dealing with the Schussler cell salts and astrology and how to cure yourself. There's also another book which is called Facial Diagnosis of Cell Salt Deficiencies. You can get that for $20 on Amazon, and you can see photographs of people. It's a modern book. It's beautiful. The only thing I don't like about the book is the guy doesn't start in Aries and finish in Pisces. He just, he's got all the signs there grouped in, say, for instance, the phosphate group, the sulfate group. And that's a bit disturbing because it takes you a long time to find where Aries is, for instance. And so if only he knew the ecliptic, he would have edited that book a little bit better. But the pictures in there are priceless, and it shows you all the deficiencies of the sign. You can go around and you can say, oh, you're deficient in magnesium phosphate, mate. You need to take some magnesium phosphate. Here you go. And you can help people just by having that book.
Yeah. Okay. Santos, we have a question from Kamla. Could you please ask Santos, explain when the moon is in your planet and when it's void in your planet, as it is now in Leo?
Well, I think you meant when the moon is in your sign, not in your planet. So when the moon transits your, yeah, for sure. When the moon transits your sun sign, she generates a psychophysical germ in your solar plexus. That's the chrism, the Christos, baby Jesus born in Bethlehem, Virgo, because Virgo rules the solar plexus. The solar plexus has 12 nerves. It's a nerve ganglion with 12 named nerves. Just check out your Santos anatomy or your Gray's anatomy, and you'll see the names, and they are the names of the 12 apostles. But in my case, when the moon is in Aries, this psychophysical germ is being generated in me, in my womb. Males and females have this womb. It's a spiritual womb. And this sacred process has been known to the ancients, and they've always given it priority in their lives, and they've always been careful to look after their seed. So it's a time to be very cautious, not to be overeating, over-drinking, and over-sexed. You can eat, you can drink. A lot of people fast during those 2.5 days of the moon transiting. Now, the moon void, that's when she's in the 29th degree of a sign. The 29th degree of any sign is the last degree. So it's on the cusp, it's confused, it's empty, it's void. And it can be a good thing, again, but usually it's a negative thing, depending on aspects, depending on what sign. If the moon, for instance, is in Scorpio, she hates Scorpio because she falls in Scorpio. She exalts in the opposite sign, Taurus. If the moon is in Capricorn, she doesn't like Capricorn because she rules in the opposite sign, Cancer. She's domiciled in Cancer. So depending on where she is void and if she's conjunct, she won't be aspecting other planets because she's void. Oh, well, she can be, yeah, but depends on the aspects and the conjunctions on what emptiness she will give. But she definitely is at a weakest point. Which reminds me, next week's lesson will be called Astrology, the Word of God. We're going to do astrology, and we're going to learn about the houses and how to read a chart.
This question actually might kind of hinge towards next week, but here we go. Do you incorporate the tarot into your readings? Why or why not? Which contains some of the information you have spoken about tonight? I think she means any particular cards that you've spoken about tonight. And if you incorporate tarot into your readings, why or why not? Thank you.
Yeah, I do. And the reason I do is because when you sum up all the 12 signs, all the numbers 12, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, you come to 78. And that's the number of the major and the minor arcana together. 78 cards in the tarot deck, and the air consists of 78% nitrogen, the air you breathe. And nitrogen is ignite, ignis is agnis, fire, the lamp, nitrogen. And the lamb has 7 seals in the book of Revelation. and nitrogen is the number 7 in the periodic table. So when you add the first 6 numbers, you come to 21. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 equal 21. That's the trump cards of the arcana. You leave the joker out. Then you go along the ecliptic and add 7 plus 8 all the way to 12, and you get the complete number of the tarot. If you want to really have an answer to a question, the tarot card is absolutely ultimately the best way to get that question. I Ching, there's also some good I Ching websites. A friend of mine, he uses the I Ching. He reckons he loves that. But there are many ways to get answers from questions. Questions are very important, and you can get answers from source by using divine instruments or mechanisms. And the tarot is the Torah, is the rota is the ecliptic, the wheel, the will of God. That's why I'm calling astrology astrologos, the word of God, because logos is the word, and astro is light, the word of light, and God is light. So astrology means the word of God, and it's the mother of all sciences. So yes, I do use the tarot, and I recommend for people to get just get a small book on how to interpret the tarot. I've got a really good one. You can get it online. It's called A Complete Guide to the Tarot by Eden Gray. A Complete Guide to the Tarot by Eden Gray. It's a small handbook, and you can get yourself a deck for $12 on the internet, Rider-Waite tarot deck. I recommend Rider-Waite. And this book is based on the Rider-Waite too, by the way. So, but I don't go anywhere without that book because I'm not a great, tarot reader. I don't, pretend to be or purport to be, but I need to consult the books, and that is one of the best you'll ever get. So thanks, guys. Appreciate your support and help, and I appreciate the fact that you're also hungering for deep knowledge like I am, and rest assured this is where you will get it. You will get syncretism, the best on the planet here.
Definitely.
And so, I encourage people to tune in and share, especially those 2 videos. Send them to the Pope. Send them, because we can make a stand here. We can make a great change. We can do something, Everyone's looking for the answer. The answer is simple. We have the internet now. The internet is real. All these people who send papers to courts and acknowledge and recognise these artificial de facto governments that have no authority and don't actually exist, why do that? Use the internet. The internet exists. The internet is real. Bypass these creeps. The moment everyone stops giving them attention, they will cease to exist.